To everyone out there, Craig and Jenny are the directors of craigandjenny.com, which is an online resource for physical health and well-being. And it's actually really exciting because it's making personal training and nutrition information and everything in that space available to people anywhere, everywhere. And it's absolutely taking off around the world. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But I met Craig and Jenny when we were in the US, actually in Georgia, even though you're from Philadelphia.
We're from Pennsylvania. Yeah, we live right in Philadelphia. That's correct.
Excellent. And there were a couple of things, I haven't told you this, but there are a couple of things that really struck me about meeting you two. And one of them was just the level of energy that you guys have. It kind of oozes out of you. You know, that quality that you can't quite put your finger on, but you can tell that you guys are, you're alive, you're awake, you're go-getters, and when you want to make something happen, you get it done. So that was
thank you
very much. Yes, thank you.
And then I also saw you had a willingness to really connect with people, and you were just genuine, down to earth people that wanted, especially in the health and well-being space, want to see people healthy. In our work with organizations around well-being, and our specialty being the mental health side, we approach mental health from a perspective that recognizes that there are a whole lot of factors that contribute to health and well-being. So
yes,
physical health being such an important part as well. So I guess first of all, though, because our audience is workplaces, let me just jump straight in and say, what role do workplaces have when it comes to personal health of individuals? Should they even be responsible for this? And isn't health really just an individual concern for individuals?
Yeah, so I'll jump right in there if Craig doesn't mind. So I think it is critically important, and I think the personal development side really has to become before the professional development. And to some people, that'll sound completely backwards. But let me tell you where I bring that to you from. I look at the human being as that we have this entire success matrix, right? Almost like a tree. If you can envision a tree with all these beautiful flowering branches, and those branches include our business, our finances, our personal health, right? Are we sick or are we healthy right now? Do we have a disease or not, right? Our family relationships, our friendships that we have, our, if I didn't say it already, personal finances. So all of these things make up the health of our entire tree. And if any one of those branches is diseased in some way or not flourishing, it brings the whole tree down. And so corporations, large companies, and even small companies, all companies really need to think about it from the standpoint of their employees, and even from a performance standpoint. How can I expect somebody to perform at their peak if they have these other factors in their life that are dragging them down? Because we all can imagine for a moment, take that we had a dear friend or relative just pass away, and how much that takes us out of our work for a period of time. Or if we ourselves have been just diagnosed with an illness, or if we have marriage problems at home. Any of those one thing can detract from our ability to perform on the job. And no matter how much professional development you give me, it's not going to help if I haven't taken care of me first.
Absolutely. And we seem to have this expectation that people are going to perform at 100% all the time. But then we don't necessarily even look at those aspects that you've just laid out, right?
Oh, that's exactly right. I mean, they, as in a corporation, they want you to be doing everything for them. I mean, what have you done for me lately? And, with that attitude, you need to really look at, if that's your attitude, what you have to be taking care of yourself. That's going to be very important. And once you start taking care of yourself, then everything else, like Jenny said, really starts taking off. If you could actually feel better for yourself, for your relationships, even comes to, your brain fog, and that's decreased, and you've got more energy, and you're ready to go every single day for you, guess who is going to benefit? The company is going to benefit. And they a lot of times they don't see that. It is about, what happens. I actually had this conversation not too long ago with somebody, and in good times, it seems like companies, they seem a little lackadaisical. It's like, all right, they've got a process, but as long as, the revenues are coming in, things are fine. Whenever things start getting tight, that's when all of a sudden the stresses really come into play. It starts from the top and it comes down. And they're basically scared. They're scared for themselves, for their jobs, and for their own families. And they've got to then motivate this person and this person and this person. And now it comes down to you. And all of a sudden you're getting all this pressure, and it's like, I've been doing the same stuff I've been doing. And it's because, these managers, they're scared. They're scared of what is going to be happening. But if you were to actually nurture them all along, then the company would continue to flourish. And even in economic times that are down, the company is going to still flourish more than you could possibly imagine.
Because you have a background in corporations, right? Tell us a little bit about your background and experience and what led you to what you're doing now.
Sure. Yeah. So we both have a background in corporate finance. We worked there. Craig was there for 23 years. I was there for 12 years prior to leaving. And it was so interesting because we saw this happening over and over again in our lives there. And when I left after 12 years, my goal at that point, interestingly, was to go out and start showing people how to stay healthy on the road, because I always was. And my friends and coworkers always said to me on the road, we'd be staying in a hotel together and I'd be getting up in the morning to work out. And they'd always say, how do you stay in such good shape on the road? How do you not eat the cake when we go out for the big steak dinner? And how do you? And they all wanted the how. And so I went back to become a personal trainer, never with the intent of having one-on-one clients in the gym, but training in these large corporations and showing them how you do this on the road. And more importantly, why you do it on the road, because I felt so much better than everybody else. And then more importantly, when I came home from a week on the road, I still had the energy to be with my son at the time, who was very young. He was 6 months old, a year old, 2 years old. And I had been gone all week. He wanted me when I came home. If I couldn't give him that, if I was exhausted from my business trip, now it would take a toll on the family and all of these things.
And you guys have got how many kids now? What are you up to?
5 kids. 5 kids.
And that's where we're stopping.
That's right.
So even more important now with 5 and everything else that you do. And, it's interesting that you've got the finance background, because there's studies done, the most recent one by PwC, that shows that when it comes to mental health, finance, insurance, those sort of industries have the highest levels of stress.
Yes, I can believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, once, a little more into me, and that was, so Jenny, when she's quit, and she was actually then working with, Giada, we had gotten pregnant, and that was great. And then I continued to work. And I will tell you that for such a long period of time in finance, my job, I didn't consider it a job. I was just having a grand time. And I thought it was just a lifestyle. And then whenever 2008 came around and the finance industry went down, it wasn't fun anymore. But I kept on telling myself that, it's still good. I still love doing this. And, I was talking to somebody the other day, and it was the one guy on this shoulders. They're like, yeah, it's great. And this guy over here is saying, oh, no, this is horrible. No, it is good. No, it's great. And so you've got this, ping pong effect or tennis match going back and forth. And that's where, good health is going to help all these aspects of your life. And a lot of times people don't realize how important that is.
So it seems though, at least in the Western world, that we are getting more and more unhealthy. And, it seems to be a losing battle. Do you believe that, or is there hope? What do you think is impacting on our...
I will say, first of all, it is kind of a losing battle in a way. I'm seeing these trends. And I'll give you a couple of examples.
Sure.
I will say probably about 5 to 7 years ago, it was definitely a losing battle because there was a lot of more processed foods, more fast food. There at that point in time, there wasn't really much talk about organic foods or non-GMO. And today there is. And so what I'm seeing is an awareness of people that they're starting to take their lives in their own hands instead of leaving it to the government, leaving it to other corporations. And I see it almost if you're looking at a baseball game, the third inning in a baseball game, where it's starting to, go in a positive direction. People are starting to take charge. And, I make this joke, but 100 years ago, there were no farm-to-table restaurants. They were all that way. There were no organic restaurants or organic food. It was all organic. And so we're starting to see that now this non-GMO, organic, healthier restaurants, it's starting to become more of a norm. And that's where I'm starting to see the awareness of people. So as much as, some people are still stuck where they are, but a lot of people are starting to take their own lives in their own hands.
Yeah, and one of the reasons too, I think people see it as a losing battle is they've tried just one aspect of improving their health. So they've tried just physical fitness or movement workouts, or that they've tried just some sort of new diet program, nutrition program. But ideally, in order to see a change in the human body, you have to look at it from movement, nutrition, and mindset. You have to do all three things, which the general public is missing that, because they have no idea how much the mind is impacting the physical condition of the body. And that's really what started Craig and Jenny D to begin with, was that concept. Because right after I became a certified personal trainer and I was going to go start this business and go on speaking tour, I became very, very ill. And I lost 25% of my body weight, and there was no explanation from the doctors on what was wrong. They ran every test you could think of, every scan, blood tests, you name it, they did it to my body, and every test came back normal. And yet I was dropping weight. I was in pain all the time, in bed all the time. I couldn't do anything. And so it ended up me going to a nutritional healing center where they said to me, look, we can heal you from the inside out nutritionally. They put me on a raw vegan diet and cleansed my body, all this great stuff. They said, but if you don't do some mindset work and handle your stress differently, you're going to be right back where you were as soon as you go home. So I went there. During the week that I was there, I was actually able to put on 5 pounds, and then I never went back, right? I kept improving to get all the way to where I am today. So now we're 5 years later, and this is how we stay healthy. And so we saw this major transformation, not only in my own health, but then he saw what was happening to me, and he goes, well, I want some of that. So he started doing because we were both always physically active and we ate well, but then we both added the mindset piece to it.
And do you think that's the hardest part for people?
Oh, yeah, I think without a doubt. I mean, because it's, what I look at is it's whenever you are on a diet, it's measurable. You can measure that because I went on a scale and I've lost weight. Now, when you look at physical fitness, when you look at movement, you can see a difference. And normally your muscles are bigger. And plus you're also looking to lose weight. Generally, that's where a lot of people are doing that. Whenever it comes to mindset, that is where the hardest part. There's no measurement per se. There's no scale. There's no like, oh, your brain doesn't look different. There's nothing that goes on there. Inside it does. I mean, if you were to do an infrared scan, I'm sure that would change everything and how it would look. But most of us can't see that.
That's right.
And, and so that's where mindset, I kind of say this is the glue that holds everything together.
Yeah, because that's why people too can't stick to a nutrition program or to a movement program, because they have something in their mindset that's holding them back. They either don't feel worthy of taking care of themselves in that way, or maybe there's a scarcity issue in their life. So if there's ever been some sort of issue around scarcity with food, now they can't stick to a specific nutrition program because they feel deprived. And it's no matter how hard they try, you can't overcome what's going on up in the subconscious brain. You can't until you deal with it directly through mindset work.
And it's something that we don't normally think about very much, is it? All the conditioning that we have around what are our beliefs around food, about exercise, about movement, all that stuff. I mean, I remember it was you finish every last thing on your plate because there's starving children in the world that,
That's right.
And you just take that on board and must finish everything on my plate.
You do. Yeah. It's absolutely true.
And our parents, I mean, they tried our best. They did the best with what they had. And we have new tools now. And with these new tools, that's where you have to start learning, how to really work in this world and what our bodies are really meant to do. And our bodies are meant to feel amazing. You're not supposed to have headaches. You're not supposed to have colds all the time. You're not supposed to be tired or lethargic. You're supposed to have energy and be vibrant. And it's about putting all this stuff together so you can actually have all that.
Yeah.
So what are your best tips for people to get started?
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, I would highly recommend that everybody look at their own success matrix for a minute, right? So just write these couple things down. Write down family, friends, business, finances, nutrition, movement. Write those down. And then evaluate yourself 1 to 10. Like, where am I? Are those things adding to my energy every day? Are they really helping me out? Are they good in my life? That would be a 10. Or are they kind of sucking my energy, right? Am I trying this diet program that's killing me? So then nutrition is going to be down near a 1. Am I having relationship troubles at home? Where are they? Look at them and kind of rank them, right? And see what's draining your energy every day. And then let's go back to, okay, well, why might that be? What's going on there, right? What are my beliefs around relationships? All these sorts of things, okay? And then that's a place to begin working with. And then whatever their goal is right now, maybe it's to release 20 pounds. I don't know. We'll just make that up. Kilograms for you guys, or however you guys do it, right? So maybe they want to release, let's make it 10 kilograms. 20 kilograms is a lot to release. So we'll make it 10 kilograms they're looking to release. So they're looking to release 10 kilograms, let's say. So that's fine if they want to do that. But let's get to why, right? So why do I want to do this? Well, because I want to fit into those jeans that have been in my closet forever. Okay. Well, why do you want to fit in those jeans? Well, because maybe I'll feel a little bit more sexy in them. My husband might look at me different if I fit into those jeans again. Okay, well, why do you want that? Well, when we're out, I really don't feel confident about myself. I'm afraid my husband's looking at other people, and that upsets me, stresses me out. Okay, well, why does that matter? Well, because if he were to leave me for some reason, then what would happen to us and our 5 kids? And right, so you see where this goes, where suddenly a losing of 10 kilograms really has nothing to do with the weight loss.
That's right. Yeah.
The releasing of that has to do with a very deep-rooted belief that if you don't look a certain way or feel a certain way, that it's going to impact a relationship, or it's going to impact your health. It's going to impact your confidence on stage if you're a public speaker, your confidence in a sales meeting, if you're a salesperson. So it goes so much deeper. And what I think a lot of these companies need to begin thinking about is, if you have employees that are going on diets repeatedly, right? Oh, I'm going to try this because I've got to lose this weight. And this is a cyclical thing where they really focus all their energy on losing the weight, and then they do, and then they put it back on, then they lose it again. There's also an emotional cycle that comes with that. So when they're focused on losing it, they're not paying any attention to what's going on at work, because their only focus is losing the weight, right? And then they accomplish it, and they're all like, woo, okay, I'm back and focused at work. Then the weight starts to tick back up. Then their self-confidence plummets. I don't feel good about myself. I'm tired, right? All this stuff. My clothes don't fit. So now we start the cycle all over. So there's only a very small segment of time during that cycle where the person's actually engaged in their job and performing at their peak. And so the more we can help people to have a consistent pattern of self-respect, then they reach goals that are actually sustainable, because that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
It really is just self-respect, getting up and moving every day in some way. It doesn't have to be at the gym, pumping iron and all this stuff. Moving and putting healthy foods into our body and thinking good thoughts instead of stressful thoughts. Those are just all self-respect. And when we do that, we see sustainable results in having a healthier, more energized body to put then into our business.
Whenever you're actually looking at all those and you're ranking them, don't just be there, oh yeah, there's this 5, no, this number, that number. No, really just, if you have to go to your own corner and just be in a quiet place for a little bit of time and be honest. Take a look really inside, like what do I rank my friends? Are they, as an example, are they somebody that pulls me down all the time, or they cheer me on? They're my cheerleader. What do they do? And, really think about these things, even your family. And sometimes, you've got to really be honest. When we do this with our clients, it turns out that they really get to be honest with themselves, and they're amazed. They're really, truly amazed. Even whenever I, looked and did it for myself, I was, I thought certain things were like, oh, this level high. And it's like, wow, if I really, really think about it, it's not as high as I think. And there's always, there's that room for improvement. And Jen was talking about those, those cycles. What we try to do is that we're always going to have cycles. There's nothing, nobody's perfect. There's never anything perfect out there. It's impossible to be perfect. So what we try to do then, instead of having the big ups and downs, you're going to have little waves, and waves are okay. It's just, we just try to avoid.
That's the spice of life. That's just the variety.
Yeah.
Some really good advice there. And you can definitely see how those three elements come together: the movement, the nutrition, and the exercise. And you're definitely making, mindset. What am I saying?
No, that's you shut down for a minute. It's late here. We forgot.
And those three are the core elements of your online program, which is, as I said, really making it accessible to people and making it easy so there can be no excuses when it comes to this stuff as well. And you want to share a little bit about the platform?
Sure. The idea behind the platform was really born from my initial idea of making health accessible to people on the road. And that's where everything started from in that process. And so in the initial stages, when you go into it, what you'll find is that we kept everything within a 20-minute time frame. So it's built for the busy person that doesn't have 2 hours to go to the gym every day, and also for the person that doesn't always have equipment available, right? So the programs can literally be done anywhere, anytime, any day. You don't need equipment, so it makes it completely accessible. You can do it in your hotel room. You can do it on the sideline of your kids' sports practice. You can do it wherever you need to do it. And then with the nutrition and the mindset, we put short basic training programs in there that they can start to dig down deeper, because what you'll find is once you really identify where you are, you identify the why behind everything, suddenly the cookie tray doesn't look that attractive when you're going, save my marriage, eat the cookies, save my, suddenly it's a different
when you understand that why
question when you understand that why. So we've put those training programs in there. And then on the nutrition side, this is just amazing. So we have a lot of our own nutrition information in there. And then what we're beginning to add in is we have a partnership with a company called Assuaged. And it's a married couple that are both disabled. And they literally have healed their bodies completely and no longer take any prescription medications, just through nutritional practices. So they now teach this to the world. And so we're so excited. They are the chefs that come into all of our retreats now. And they're just doing amazing things. He used to have such severe migraine headaches. He was doing 12 to 16 Pepsis a day. She was on 14 medications for pain management because of her disabilities. Wow. They're on no prescription medications at all now. Incredible. Because of nutrition. So this is how powerful the nutrition piece can be. And we keep the recipes quick, simple, easy that anybody can make in the kitchen.
Yeah. And then on the mindset side, you've got coaches that can actually provide personal coaching for people as well through the program.
Exactly.
Yeah, we do.
It really does get personal at a level to really break through a lot of this. You have to get.
Because I've read enough books. Anybody that is trying to, do self-development, they've read enough books. I've never seen a book that'll really hit him over the head and say, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, look at all these books behind us. We've got a lot of books.
Yeah, we do. But that's where coaching comes into play. Coaching is that accountability. It's making sure that you're taking responsibility also. And with the mindset coaching that we have, we've got 4 mindset coaches throughout the world that they're all different, and we then carve the right person with the mindset coach so that they can get rid of their own limited beliefs, their own head trash, the stuff that is holding them back. My story that I tell many times is most of us, especially that are aware and are trying to get somewhere, they're trying to fit that piece of the puzzle together. And most of us are standing, really on a beach. And we're looking at this beautiful sunset, and there's water right there, and the waves are coming in, and you just want to get closer. You just want to get a little bit closer and closer. And then you see this boat down there, and you're like, wow, I can get closer. And you get in the boat. You start paddling out. And then the waves, they push you back in, and they keep on pushing you back in. And you can't seem to go back out. And it's those waves are your limiting beliefs. Those are the things that are holding you back, and you can't even see that. A lot of times, as an example, Jen, she may tell me something that I'm doing, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. No. And of course, then because we're more aware now because of our coaching, that yes, I am probably doing something, and I'm aware of it. But people see it in others more than we see it in ourselves.
We have those blind spots for sure. Yeah,
we do.
Yeah. So it's a great resource, and you've got an offer that's a 30-day free trial as well. So
absolutely.
We'll put the details up on that so people can access that as well. And you mentioned your retreats. So you've run them in the US, but you're also coming over to Australia as well.
Oh yeah,
we are. We're so excited.
The retreats. I mean, it's like we do the coaching. We've got our membership, but the retreats are really starting to take off. I mean, we've done 4 this year and all together, and then going into next year, we're looking to double that. And we've been in the U.S. We are going international. We had just, put together an Australian retreat down the Whitsunday Islands, and it's like
we'll be leaving off of Hamilton Island.
Yeah,
so
Hamilton Island,
the Marina and Yacht Club right there on Hamilton Island.
Wow.
So we'll be leaving from there, and we'll have a 48-foot catamaran, and people will come out with us for some of the coaching, and we'll do some really fun immersion stuff where it's almost like a survivor game. So it's an adventure retreat, and it's just going to be fantastic. Literally transforming lives in 5 days.
Great. We'll get some information on that as well.
Yep.
Sure, certainly.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful being with you again.
Thank you so much.
Take care.